Welcome back, everybody. We are here for the Week 14 first look. It is Monday morning at 10:20 Pacific time. This is not going to be a lineup that you're going to want to plug and play on Sunday. This is a process look at how we're going to look at building lineups for this week with no research. I have not looked at the slate. I have only written down all the games in my notebook with the totals and the spreads. I kind of have an idea of where we want to go based on that, but I haven't really dug into these teams beyond what we already know. So if you're watching this on YouTube, let's see how many views, likes, comments we can get. We've had about 500 each of the past couple of weeks in terms of likes. Let's see if we can get to 650 likes on this video. It's a lofty goal, but I think that we can get there. Really appreciate all the support on the channel. So let's get right into it and break down what we're going to do this week. Okay, so looking at the players on the slate, obviously we've got 13 games, right? I'll move this up a little bit so you guys can see. Number Crunch! Thank you very, very much for the support. Getting involved with a Twitch Prime sub. So at quarterback, right, we have Wentz against the Rams, one of the higher scoring games on the slate. We have Rivers up against Washington and their inefficient defense. And obviously the Chargers have an inefficient running game. Even though they give the ball a ton to their running backs, they don't really average great yards per carry. Jared Goff against the bottom half pass defense. There's going to be some guys up here that we're going to attack, right, in GPPs. But in terms of cash games, we like to come down here to this range. 5K in this range down here. Prescott, bruised right hand, has not really done that well the last few weeks, right? Have not seen a big game out of Dak Prescott. His percentage owned is going to be way down. We're going to have to monitor that injury as the week goes on. Jimmy Garoppolo in his first game looked real good. Did not throw a touchdown. 5,500 looks very appealing to me, considering how much he's going to have to throw it against Houston, who is a very inefficient pass defense. Jacoby Brissett against Buffalo. You want to attack Buffalo with the run. We're not really going to do it with Indianapolis. I'm not going to ride Gore or Mack or any of those guys, really. Looking down, Tyrod Taylor got carted off the field. They said that he avoided a big injury. Something to monitor as the week goes on against Indy, who at home, Taylor does play a little bit better. We don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be on Monday, so I can't really plug and play that right now. So let's just go here. Let's just do that. I'm okay with that. Whether or not we want to pair him with one of his receivers, there's one that I would have in mind off the top of my head, but we'll get there in just a minute. Looking at the running backs, paying up on the slate, you'd be going for Gurley, but you'd be doing it against Philly's front seven, which has not been a great idea to attack so far this year, though Gurley, with his usage in the passing game, this is the column that we really look at. And I'm not looking at this. I'm not looking at this. We know that he's going to get the goal line carries, right? So when we're playing Gurley, we're playing him knowing that we're going to get a good amount of carries. And he's game flow independent. If they're winning the game, he's going to get more carries and he's going to have scored a lot of points. If they're losing the game, they're going to throw the ball. If it's a neutral game situation, they're going to do both. So he's not somebody who's going to seed carries or seed goal line or seed usage in the passing game to a third down back if they're losing the game. So if you want to pay up for Gurley, I'm not against that. I don't know if we can get to him yet, but let's keep moving down the slate. McCaffrey, seen a ton of targets from him. Minnesota, a really good defense, not really one that we want to attack a ton, but looking at his game log, he's been very involved in this offense and scoring touchdowns, and something he was not doing earlier in the season. 6 on the year, 4 in the last 4 games. Marshawn Lynch saw a big bump this week. Not sure we want to go there. Lamar Miller is interesting against San Francisco's one of the most giving teams in terms of opposing running backs, right? They've been a team that we want to attack with running backs all season long. You're never going to get a 25, 27 carry game out of Lamar Miller, but San Francisco plays up in pace. Houston is at home. I'm not against this play at 5,800. I'll plug him in now, and then we'll see where we're going to go down the, if we get there. Alf Morris, they have to ride him, and they're playing against the New York Giants, who have just faltered. They're just a bad team. They fired their coach. They fired their GM. They benched their starting quarterback. They're not really all that good. 27 carries against Washington. This team still can run the ball. We know that he's really the only show in town after after Run DMC retired. They do have Rod Smith, but really it's Alfred Morris's show right now. Again, mid-range is not terrible there. I haven't looked at the lower priced running backs right now. Where'd they price up Williams to? Williams is up at 5,900. I don't see how you get this kid off the field, to be honest with you. If you're Green Bay and you've gotten this in the last 4 weeks, and with Aaron Jones back last week, he got those 2 touches and was ridiculous, right? He was ridiculous yesterday. 5.4 yards per carry. Did not look slow. Did not look like he couldn't break tackles. Did not look like he didn't know what was going on out there. Has, 2 out of 3 balls caught, 4 to 5 balls caught, 4 to 6 balls caught. Doing very well in the passing game. I don't know how you get this kid off the field, and I know that Aaron Jones looked good earlier in the season too, but he's at least in play as we start now. Theo Riddick, very interested in Theo Riddick if Amir Abdullah misses once again. He's up from his super low price, but at 45, I still think he can pay that off. When they're not afraid to give him goal line carries as well. We saw him get one inside the, getting close, and they just pitched it out to him, and he ran it, beat everybody to the pylon. Kerwin Williams had a big day, but I'm not interested in him. Really. I don't think we need to go that route. I'm happy with those 2 mid-range now. We'll figure out if we're going to go 3 running back or not once we get deeper. Okay, so D-Hop has got to be in play at his price. First of all, this was ridiculous. 7,300 and 7,600 were ridiculous. I don't care who the quarterback is. He's now at least priced for the amount of targets that he gets. Same thing goes for Keenan Allen up against Washington. Neon Joe 83, thank you very much for the new sub. Show him some love in the chat. If he's going to continue getting these amount of targets, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't, considering that he runs at least half of his routes from the slot, and they're not going to challenge him or chase him into the slot with Gordon or with Brashad Breeland. They're just not going to chase him in there, right? So I'm fine with Allen too. Chat, what do you guys think? You like Hopkins or do you like Allen? Which one do you prefer? If you're going to pay up at wide receiver, we can go to the chat and I'll let you guys figure it out. Do you guys like Hopkins or do you like Allen? Which one do you prefer if you're paying up at wide receiver this week? Somebody said both. Ashy Slashy with both. A whole lot of Allen. Nuck, Hopkins, Allen, Hopkins. Kind of feels like 50-50 right now. Nuck in a cake matchup. Again, I'm going to have to look at that Keenan Allen matchup. This is something we're going to look at as the week goes on. Obviously, San Francisco plays up and pace and has 3 terrible cornerbacks, so we know that that's a really good matchup for Hopkins. In terms of Allen, I'm going to have to see how they defend the slot. Something we're going to have to monitor as the week goes on. He does spend time on the outside. On those situations, he will be guarded by Norman and by Breeland, but Breeland. But I know Norman doesn't go into the slot. We're going to have to check that out as the week goes on. I like what Sonic Librarian said. If you go Lamar Miller at running back, then go Keenan Allen, kind of spread your variance in cash games. I don't mind that at all. So let's keep looking down this down the chart. Marvin Jones Jr., this is a great spot, right? We always want to play wide receivers against Tampa Bay. That's essentially been what we've attacked all year long, right? Didn't quite work for us last week, but it's worked all, for the past 6 weeks. That's been a place that we've gone consistently. Now, the problem with that is this. If you didn't realize it, Matthew Stafford left the game yesterday, got subbed. Right hand isn't broken, it's very sore and badly bruised. If he is able to play, and if he is 100%, then I'm fine paying for Marvin Jones Jr. Right now, I'm going to assume that he's okay because I want to attack Tampa Bay. You could also use Golden Tate if that's a route that you want to go. Again, you're going to get a lot of targets against a really bad, inefficient defense. They're inefficient on the outside. They're inefficient in the slot. They give up a ton of deep balls. Marvin Jones excels at the deep ball as well. Somebody that we have to look at there. Larry Fitzgerald also in play. Another game with 10 targets for him. We want to stack up as many targets as we can, remember, at wide receiver and at tight end. Cooper Kupp against Philly. Only 6 targets against a bad defense. I was shocked. Crowder, Des Bryant against the Giants. Look into this split. I mean, we can stay on brand here if we want. Where is he? Where is he? We can stay on brand here with Jason Witten. Although he's too expensive in my opinion. But like Jason Witten against the Giants. Go look at his career splits. Games against the Giants. Just look at how many fantasy points he gets against the Giants every single time he plays the Giants. What did he do earlier this year against the Giants? Oh, yeah. For whatever reason, as bad as the Giants are against tight ends this year, we've been playing every tight end against the Giants. But Jason Witten against the Giants, trailing back like 3, 4, 5 years, has just been a monster every single week that he's played them. The Garoppolo play, here's the interesting wide receiver that I like. Obviously, Marquise Lee going against Seattle gets a ton of targets. Josh Gordon saw a bunch of targets. This is what we didn't know was going to happen. Looked really good. Only brought in 4 of the 11 targets that he had. If that volume continues, if his efficiency can pick up, some of that is tied to Kaiser. As Kaiser is a very bad, inaccurate quarterback. Doesn't hit him where he has to, but Gordon looked really good. Where'd he go? Marquise Goodwin. 8 targets, 6 targets. This 2 against the Giants was no good, but 8 targets here. His price has come up. We need 15 points out of him. He's gotten there twice in the last 3 weeks and done it with only 1 touchdown. His volume seems secure. He finally has a quarterback that can utilize his skills. Missed the 100-yard bonus this week, still had 18 fantasy points. I'm not hating that at 5,100. Obviously, things are going to open up as the week goes on. Doxson seems too cheap. 4,200 seems too cheap for Doxson there. Zay Jones, at least interesting. I think I'd prefer Doxson over Zay Jones at a very similar price, even though this looks different. But Zay Jones tied to Tyrod Taylor for me. If it's not Tyrod Taylor, I don't want any part of that. Cobb against Cleveland. Interesting considering that he got no looks this week against a really bad defense. But again, bad quarterback. That's part of the problem. Playing receivers with bad quarterbacks is rough. The Raiders without... Where's the Raiders wide receivers? Cooper out. Crabtree, is he out 2 games? Yeah. So it's 1. So he's back this week, right? Okay. So with Crabtree back at 6,700, he's interesting, but that still means that Seth Roberts is going to play a ton. Seth Roberts, 9.6 points last week. Price came up to 4K. We need 12 out of him this week. He's somebody who's probably going to have to score a touchdown to be all right. Let's see how much we got left real quick, because you know we got to plug in our 3K defense, right? So let's plug in a defense around 3K. Seahawks against Jacksonville. Want to pick on Bortles? Giants defense? No. Like there's our around 3K defense, right? Tight end. Let's see where we're at. Let's find a tight end. Maybe somebody who's cheap. Chat says plug in the Bills at 3.1. Not against that either. Again, I don't spend any time on these first look lineups on defense there. Like Indy gives up a ton of sacks, most in the league, right? So we can just attack them with them. And then adjust as the week goes on if we want. So what do we have left here? There's got to be a cheap tight end, right? There's got to be a cheap tight end. I thought I saw one. Oh, there he is. This is it, guys. Look. Zach Ertz. Concussed. He is in the concussion protocol. If Zach Ertz misses, Trey Burton sees a massive bump. Right? Burton sees a massive bump in usage. This week, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 8.2 points. 2.9K. We're looking for 9 fantasy points out of him. That's 4 catches for 50 yards. Trey Burton is not too bad at this point at 2.9K. They've priced up a lot of these guys. Oh, wow. 3,600 for ASJ? Against the applying to be a part of the flowchart defense Denver Broncos? All right, so that's 2 value ones that I like. Witten at 4,700. I don't know if we want him, but if we can get there, we'll get there. But like ASJ, I mean, let's see. I mean, ASJ against Denver, tight end looks like we can find value if we want it. 7,300. So let's see who's up here, right? Thielen bounce back game against Carolina. First game he did not have 5 catches on in a week on the season. I kind of want to pay down. I kind of just want to go to Burton for now on this first look. I want to come up here We talked about possibly going with Gurley. Highest totaled game on the day. Could go with Gordon against Washington. Really inefficient. Could just go with Keenan Allen, too. Could go with Nook Hopkins. AJ Green against Cincy. Maybe. Thielen, 7,200. Leaving us 81. I mean, that ain't bad, guys. That ain't too bad. We have a coordinated lineup with our Garoppolo to Goodwin connection. We have a favorite home running back in Houston. We're bringing it back with him. Alfred Morris getting a ton of carries. Marvin Jones against the softest defense against opposing wide receivers. Gives up a ton of points to quarterbacks. There's an if-then with Jones. With Jones Jr., as long as Stafford plays, I like him. Thielen, I like him to maintain his volume, especially in the slot. He disappointed this week. People might be off of him. His price has come down just a hair. Gurley going to get the volume and his game flow independent. Trey Burton, if Ertz is out, sees a massive bump. We got our 3K defense, whether it's the Bills, whether it's Seattle, whether whoever it is. We can go up or down from there as the week goes on. But Buffalo at home against Indy, who gives up the most fantasy points, the most sacks to opposing defenses in the league. The greatest predictor of fantasy touchdowns is for a defense and special teams is the ability to pressure the passer, and Indy gives you that. So I like this from a matchups perspective. I kind of like this from a lineup build perspective. We have a heavy volume running back. We have that we're paying up for. We have two other heavy volume running backs at the mid-range and a whole lot of targets with our wide receivers. We might be able to shift this. If a value opens up, we can come down off of one of those wide receivers and get up to one of Nook Hopkins or Keenan Allen. I like this lineup. Gives us some flexibility, gives us an opportunity at a high floor with the ability at touchdowns and a high ceiling. So if you're still watching this on YouTube, please take the time to click that like button and subscribe. And we will catch you later in the week with the question and answer right here on twitch.tv/Al_Smizzle, where you can take part and take an hour and ask me any of the questions that you want. But you got to be a subscriber because the chat is always locked down to subs only. So thank you guys for being here, and we'll catch you later. Bye.